Hello, hello, hello. How are you all doing? Ready to practice? I see. Hello, everyone. Let me see. So we have Donna here. Hi, Donna and Shannon. Good morning. Sharon, happy Thursday. Judy Ruby, good morning. Carol, hello. Yoga time. Lynn, good morning. Carolyn, good morning. Definitely yoga time. I know I'm looking forward to it. Have some, I have a toolbox of about 33 poses that are intentional for stimulating bone growth somewhere in the body. So today I'm thinking of which ones to look into, which tools should we use. Um, and then, yeah, how are you all doing? Good morning, Cheeseway. Um, Here we are, Thursday. Um, so just a little bit for those of you that practice with me at Torrance, they're going to attempt to start doing classes online. It's interesting to me that it's been 5 months. And we're going to attempt to see if we can do it. So hopefully it'll work because it's a Zoom call. And what's really nice about Zoom is it's a step closer to being together in the way that we were. So we will actually all see each other. And I think that that's important to know, even though we have a face we can put, for those of us that know each other, we have a face we could put with someone when we see their name. There's something very different there's a different level of when you see someone and you know that they're there. So anyway, that's next week. I'm only going to try one class for the first 4 weeks just to see how everything's going, because I don't want to give up this what we have here and everyone that comes here now. And I'm not sure that everyone wants to sign up for a 4 week session with them. So anyway, I am going to start one class next week on Thursday. It's yoga therapy, and the focus is on strength, balance, and posture. And we're going to use a chair and a wall. So there will be static held poses, that's the way that I teach. That seems to be a more safe approach for, well, I say for aging or injured bodies, because definitely in that case. Yet when I go to India, I don't do any kind of flowing practice when I study yoga therapy. Everything I do is, this is for this intention, this is for this intention, this is for this intention. And the asana has an intention, which is the way that I teach. Here's what it is we're trying to repair, restore, heal, or strengthen to prevent wear down and issues in our tissues as we age. So anyway, that's that. For those of you that are with me at Torrance Memorial, hopefully you received an email already. And then for those of you who are not, I've sent a couple of emails to people that are not on that email list. So anyway, that's if you want to do a Zoom call to check that out. And then who else is here? Jeannie and Joyce. Good morning, ladies. So if there's nothing to report, usually the way it works is I walk into the room and people come up privately and tell me things that are going on. So not everybody always wants to do it like this, or to send me, gets always to send me an email and let me know what's going on. And then, of course, there's always the option to work with me privately on a Zoom call if you have anything specific you want to work on. And there's information on my website, debbierobinson.com, for the private sessions. I've been doing quite a few private sessions and I really love that. So anyway, there's that. And yeah, so my daughter's gone. She's in England. And I'm actually taking my other daughter next week to school in Boulder. So I'm going to drive 17 hours. Anyway, got to get these kids out of here so I can have a life. All right. So if there's nothing else to report, and then maybe Steve is here, Angie and Dan may be here. Stevie's probably with us, although I need to reach out to her, see where she's at. Jerry may be here. I know Barbara comes on Saturday. I'm not sure she's here today. So just thinking of those that get in touch with me that we may not see their names, but they're here. All right. So let's begin today with some kind of elevation on our prop. So I'm going to suggest this, and then not everybody has these props. I'm going to show you something, and then I'd like you to have something that could emulate this. Now here I'm using a block that's a very solid surface, which is good because it'll take the weight of my body when I put my body on this bolster, and I put the blanket up at the top for my head. Okay, so that's the way I'd like us to start, with some kind of elevation so that we have the chest open here and the chest is higher, so that when the arms are moving towards the floor, there's definitely a stretch coming into the chest. So it may not be with a block and with a bolster. For you, it may be this block is towels that are rolled up or folded on top of each other. And then this is pillows. So that behind your heart, see where that block is, kind of maybe that behind the heart, kind of. I guess the block there needs to take more of the weight of the shoulders and the head, because that's the biggest bony structure. But you'll see if you look at me here that there is a supported back bend in my body, and that's what we're going for. Supported back bend. Having yourself elevated is going to allow for gravity to really work on stretching the muscles of the chest and the shoulders. And this is great for all of us, not just for osteoporosis. The thing about osteoporosis is we really want to minimize flexion in the spine, since most of the fractures occur in the spine and in the front section of the spine. So here we're opening up the front of our spine. And that's a really important thing to do. And then, of course, for anyone, especially if you do a lot of forward movement, like cooking, computers, texting, reading, anything where the head is looking down or looking forward. So find this, whatever you needed to get at your house, whatever you need to muster up and put together. The beauty of being at home is that we have access to a lot of things. And this is about the shape in your body and the support of your body, not about how perfect does your prop look and is it a perfect yoga specific prop. So get blankets, get towels, get pillows, put yourself in this supported position. Begin with the knees bent so that you can allow the lower lumbar spine to softly accept this position you're putting into your spine. And that's important because the back takes the brunt of a lot of the forces or the movement patterns of the body. So just bringing your awareness to that and then moving slowly and intentionally and thoughtfully to support your body in this supported back bend. I'm going to allow you to bring your legs so the knees are bent at first. And then if you'd like to come into a Supta Baddha Konasana position, you could bring the soles of your feet together and the legs are out to the side. This is a pretty big opener to start opening up the inner thighs. And with this, it would also be good if you do this to have some kind of support. So I have, of course, I have regular yoga support, yoga props here. Not everybody has that. So I'm showing you what it looks like if you did have bolsters and blankets and blocks. And if you didn't, I just want you to get something that does the same, has the same functionality. So when your knees are here in Baddha Konasana, opening the thighs, it could be a lot of pressure on the low back as well. So to support the weight of the knee or the knees, at one point with my hip journey, I only needed support under one knee. So supporting the knees with blankets, with towels, with whatever you have around. And then, of course, if you had two bolsters, you could use the second bolster to be what supports the Supta Baddha Konasana position. And then if this doesn't feel good for you to have the legs spread like this, if this is not comfortable, take your legs all the way straight out to a position, either supported by a bolster or just straight out from the body. Ooh. And let's let this pose do the work. It's already starting to stimulate relaxation in me as I yawned. And what I learned about yawning is when the heart rate goes low or when the oxygen level is low and the body needs a deeper breath. So a yawn is actually a very deep inhalation. If you think about it, just think about that. When we yawn, we actually take in even more breath. So it's the body's way to say, I need more breath. So when you find yourself tired and yawning, it would be really lovely to stop, to take a break, and to do some deep breathing, to fill up your energy reserves, to fill up the oxygen in your body. And then once you get into whatever position you're in, you could also have your legs straight without a bolster, soles of the feet together without a bolster, just finding in your own body what feels appropriate. And then allow your body to go, really yielding and relaxing and releasing into this pose, letting go of all of the holding, and just let the body go and go to a place of being, human being. So we put our body in this position, we close our eyes, wiggle the jaw back and forth, side to side, to release any tension that's being held in the lower jaw. And just begin to notice what you notice. Let the back teeth separate. And begin to notice where you feel tension, where you feel relaxation. Where you feel sensations. Let your palms be up towards the sky. Move your arms into a position where you feel the appropriate amount of opening. Bringing your awareness to your breath. Breathing in through the nose. Start to follow the breath in your body. Following it from the nose, follow it to wherever it goes and notice what the breath does, where it moves in your body when it comes in, and where it moves the body when it goes out. And just pay attention to that, notice that. Begin to bring the breath deep into the body. So bring the awareness to the lower ribs. Begin to bring the breath there. As you breathe into the lower ribs, breathing into the lower ribs and feeling that expansion and contraction of your body with the breath. Bringing the breath to the lower ribs, visualize an inner tube all the way around your body with a 1 inch space. So that as you breathe out, your body expands to fill that 1 inch space. As you breathe back, you feel the body moving towards the spine. Keep all your awareness there to the lower ribs, the middle of the torso. Breathing slowly, softly, gently. And wherever you are, take 5 more breaths and count them. So go slow. Count your breaths. So you take 5 more breaths. Wherever you are, finishing up that last breath. And bringing your awareness to your body, to your fingers, to your toes, to gently begin to bring movement into your body, gently into your fingers and your toes. If your legs are in Baddha Konasana, you can either bring them back up to knees bent, feet on the floor, or bring them into a straight leg position. Take that external rotation out of the hip, wiggling fingers, toes, rolling ankles and wrists. The important thing is that this beginning part of class is for you to train yourself how to relax, how to bring yourself from the fear stimulation and the part of the brain where that is the limbic loop, the primitive chatter, the constant, the worry, the fear, the hopelessness, and to bring yourself out of that and to bring yourself into parts of your brain that are either counting breath, bringing your visualization, feeling what's happening in your body, or bringing your awareness down to the body in the sense of feeling, noticing. And all of that is to, let's roll onto our right, all of that is to stop that chronic stress. When you bring yourself up, lead with your shoulder. It's really important we do that because many of us, probably most of us, at some point throughout the day, some more than others, are in that limbic loop, that chronic stress place. And when we are in that place, we break down our body, we break down our physical body. And when that happens, and when we're in that place of stress, that will go into all the areas of us. So I start all my classes this way as a creating a toolbox for yourself of different positions to be in, different breathing techniques, different aspects of breath. And for some of you, some things may resonate. For others, it may be other things. And then if you're able to stimulate that relaxation feeling inside your body, then you're going to know that that's possible so that when you need it, when life is getting the better of you, when you feel stressed out, that you have this as tools in your toolbox. So that's what this is. Also to create an internal environment that's receptive to healing, repairing, restoring, and building bones. So that when we do the stimulation work, your body is going to be able to actually do the building of the bones that we so badly want, to create the strength in the bones, to create the strength in the muscles, and to create the strength in the nervous system. Okay. And not always, you're not always able to get to a place of relaxation, but for a lot of you, you are. And so, all right, today we're going to need a block, a blanket. We may need a chair or a wall when we come to the standing portion of class. So let's actually begin on our hands and knees. Beginning on your hands and knees, and take your hands very wide and very forward, and take your legs, your knees underneath your body pretty forward. You're going to move forward and backward. So we were already actually opening up the hips or moving the hips or manipulating the hips in that Baddha Konasana position, that external rotation position we were in. Now we're doing a little bit more with that as well, getting our body. So we're not rounding our spine here. We're not coming down into a child's pose, and your arms are forward so that when you move back and forth, moving into that hip joint, lubricating the hip joint, lubricating shoulders. And then let's bring ourselves to sit on top of the blanket. We're going to do our windshield wiper action today in a seated position, bringing your body awareness to your tailbone. So I want you to feel that you're sitting on your tailbone. That's the base of your spine. And then I want your legs to be really wide. Your feet are pretty wide here. Um, and then uh, you're on your hands. Maybe you want to be on your fingers. This is going to strengthen wrist joints. So the closer you are to your body, the more flexion in the wrist might be more intense for some of you. You may need to bend your elbows and have your arms be a little bit away from you. And then walking the feet away may be something some of you need to do. So I'd like you to begin to start moving the body, rolling through the tushy from one tushy to the other, letting the legs go side to side, letting those upper leg bones roll around in the socket, warming up that hip joint. I want you to feel yourself or notice that your feet are rocking through center to the edges, to the pinky toe edge of one and the big toe edge of the other. So all of this body awareness right now, feeling in your body what feels appropriate. I noticed that for many, the hip joint becomes pretty sticky, an area that may be harder to move, and it's really important that we maintain the range of motion here. So gave you a lot of different options, and then you'll notice that you probably started sliding a little forward. The next time you come over to the left, stay there. Actually, the next time you come to the right, go to the right because I want to be facing you when you do this. The next time you come to the right, I want you to come to sit on the right buttock and put the right hand on the floor, and the left leg is coming off the body. This is more stretching in that hip joint. Notice what you notice. Try to get that right leg towards the floor. Push that left heel into the floor. You'll feel something somewhere different for all of us depending. And then you're going to bring yourself to the other side, rolling through so that you come to sit on your left buttock completely. I would love it if you could take your hands off the floor so you're sitting on that buttock. And what I'm going to say here is that this is about range of motion in the hips. And so that's, I feel the deep stretching of the muscles that attach that bone into the pelvis. So coming through, this is like a mermaid stretch for those of you that know that. And then I want you to come on the tushy. I want to do the tabletop position. This was added to the new practice. Now maybe let's take out our wrists for a second. Maybe you have some tightness in your wrists. I know that I'm feeling that from weight bearing on my wrists in that position. And then we also were weight bearing in the beginning of the rocking. So if those actions, barely weight bearing like that, that's a good way to slowly build up that strength necessary in the wrist area to help if you do stumble or trip and you need to put your hand down quickly to get yourself back to balance. It's important to have strong wrists. So your tushy is on the blanket, your hands are on the floor, fingers are facing forward ideally. And then of course, if you need to move into something else, you could try that. We're going to come and do a 30-second hold in the tabletop, which is quite a long time. And for most of you, probably if you're not used to doing this, you may not be able to stay up for the full 30 seconds. Okay, so let's take our hands behind us, bring our feet onto the floor. The chest is open, the throat is open. Take an inhale here. Press your fingers into the floor and then lift yourself up into the tabletop position. The goal here is to lift the pelvis, move the knees away from you. You could tuck the chin to the chest if the head is too heavy for the upper back and neck to hold, or you can let your gaze be up towards the sky. See what feels better for you. Push your feet into the floor, moving your knees away from you. Take one more breath here. And then let's lower down. So that was 30 seconds. And I know that's kind of intense. So bringing yourself forward. Let's do the wrist stretch. If you could sit on your heels, I'm sitting on my heels. This is called Hero's Pose. Try that. If your knees don't like to bend, you're going to need to be up here. Let's take right off the beginning. And then I noticed that it came and said I was unstable, so I may have froze. So I didn't do anything. I just stopped. When I think I'm frozen, I freeze. All right, take your hands forward. So your palms are down towards the ground. The backs of the hands are up. And then I want you to turn the hands so the backs of the hands face each other. Backs of the hands are facing each other. The thumbs are down. Take the left wrist on top of the right wrist. Clasp your hands. Lower your shoulders and slowly, slowly begin to bring your arms up and through, feeling that tension in the left wrist, somewhere in the left wrist. Push your hands away from your body. Don't let them be on your chest. Push them away. Lower your arms. Maybe you feel a little more intensity there. And then the elbows out to the sides. Feeling that intensity in your left wrist, creating some stimulation there. It's mostly that radius. Dr. Fishman said it's mostly the radius that gets the fractures. So creating that stimulation, twisting, twisting, twisting. Take one more breath. And then you're going to slowly, slowly come out. So although this is not a pose, it's still something. And he recommends, I can't remember what term he gives it. He recommends holding this for 30 seconds. So feel that. I actually feel more at my ulnar side than my radial side. Feel that tension that was in the wrist. Let's do the other hand. The back of the hands are together. The thumbs are down towards the ground. You're going to bring the right wrist this time on top of the left wrist. And now the palms are facing each other as you clasp your hands. Lower your shoulders and then slowly, slowly, slowly rotate, 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 bringing your hand through. Push your hands away from your body, lower your hands. These are all techniques to actually deepen that tension, that stress that you feel in your wrist, and just notice what you feel and what feels appropriate to you. Take your breaths, focus on your breath. And then let's take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself out. Take your wrists, roll your wrists around. Now the block, if you can go ahead and get your block. If you don't have a block, that's okay. We're going to come down and do a minute plank. We're going to do it in dolphin. And why I have the block is to keep the arms in this position. So the elbows are underneath the shoulders and the elbows are not out to the sides. The elbows are underneath the shoulders. So that's what the purpose of the block is. Also, when we push in and we activate our shoulder girdle and our back. So there's other aspects too, but I don't want you to think you can't do this if you don't have a block. So we're going to come onto all fours. Take your knees all the way to the back of the mat. We're going to go down and do, we're doing a 1 minute plank. So this is actually 2 times the pose. Plank is one of the new, one of the add-on poses Dr. Fishman added after the first series. This is dolphin plank, which I think is more intense for the core actually than plank. So you can come into this, which is the modification, coming all the way down, press your hands into the floor, your hands into the block. If you'd like to flip your toes under and lift your knees off, this is the full dolphin plank. Push your hands into the floor, push your fingers into the block, press your feet into the floor strongly, and feel like you're trying to draw your elbows and your knees towards each other, or your elbows and your feet towards each other. Lengthen your head, feel nice and long here, pushing away from the floor. If you want to experience a 3-legged plank, you could lift one leg off at a time or one foot off at a time. I remember when I first started doing this, I could barely stay up for one breath. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself down. So that was a minute. Take your block away from you and have your pelvis be on the blanket so that your hip bones are supported. Bring your elbows underneath your shoulders and then pull your rib cage away from the floor. Open up your throat, press your heart forward. This is Sphinx pose. Feel that strong stretch from below the ribs to where the pubis bone is, stretching the part of the body that gets shortened when we're sitting. And we want this to be nice and open. Take one more breath. We're going to lengthen down. So as you lower down, you're going to lengthen your body. So press your hands into the floor. Bring your body down, lengthening your spine all the way down. We're going to come into our locust pose. Take your arms alongside the body. Forehead touches the floor. Pick the legs up one at a time and roll the legs in the socket so that the inner thigh rolls up towards the sky. Lengthen, 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 lengthen your feet away from you. Lengthen your head away from you. And as you inhale, lift your upper body, lift your arms, lift your legs off the floor, coming into locust pose. Reach your head long, reach your feet long, reach your arms long, reach your fingers away from you. If you'd like to come into the next level of this, you can roll the palms down to the ground, let the arms go straight out to the sky or to the sides in airplane or a version of locust. And then of course, there's always arms come forward, palms face each other, thumbs are up towards the sky in the full version of the pose. One more breath. Then you're going to take your hands to come down. You take your hands, fold your hands one on top of the other. Place the forehead on the back of the hands. Let the legs be a little wider than your body and wiggle your pelvis back and forth side to side. Take your right hand out away from you and roll onto your right side. You're going to take your left hand on the floor. You're leading with your left shoulder, not your not your head, your left head. Bringing yourself up to all fours. Let's do a little cat and cow. Take some tension out of the spine and move the spine. The important thing here is that the spine can move through extension and flexion. And when we have osteoporosis, making sure to not round the upper spine is a very important thing. So can you let your legs go a little wide, let your hands go forward, pointer fingers are forward. Can you inhale, let your whole back go into extension, which is cow pose. Open your throat, let the sits bones have space. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, contract your core, press your belly button up to your spine. Try to let only the lower lumbar be what goes into flexion so that the upper back stays straight and smooth. And on the inhalation, you come into your extension, your cow pose. Exhale, contract the core. Let the belly go up towards the spine, the low back up towards the sky. And then inhale into your extension. One more. Exhale into your cat. Feel that low back moving up towards the sky. And then let's go ahead and bring yourself all the way up. We're going to take our blanket. Let's just do a little pause for a second. So why don't you take your blanket, fold your blanket in two. I know this is not for everyone, but I know that some of you out there may be able to do this. So you're going to take your blanket. We're going to do a squat. You're going to put your heels on your blanket and come into a squat position. My heels are elevated on my blanket. The heels are wide. And then you want to make sure you're not dumping down and sitting in this. So you want to kind of lift yourself up just a little bit. You're in the ligaments of the hips and where the legs attach the body. So it's a great way to stretch the hips. And it's also really important if you ever want to travel to parts of Asia or India and you need to go to the bathroom somewhere and you may need to stop in the side of a road where there's actually a hole for the bathroom. Take one more breath and then bring yourself back out. I remember my first trip to India, I said to myself, oh my, there's a lot of people that probably couldn't come here because going to the bathroom would be a real challenge. Some places, when you go to some of the ancient towns to go visit ancient temples, they are not equipped with Western toilets. Okay, let's go down. Actually, let's stay here. Let's come to standing because I wanted to do some newer standing poses or ones I don't do as often. So actually, we're going to go through downward facing dog and plank. Now, for those of you that I don't know what level you're all at. So if some of you are newer to the practice or today is a day that you're just feeling you don't want to go so hard or you have something that's going on in your body, stepping your foot forward and coming from here to a standing position may be better for you. And then for the rest of you, we're going to come through down dog and plank. You're going to take your hands pretty wide, your knees are pretty wide, flipping your toes under. Before we come to this, I just want to say that part of the process of aging is that the bones and the muscles become weaker with age. Every year, there's a certain percentage of decrease. That's just life. So when we show up to the mat, when we do the stronger work, you want to do what's appropriate to you. You want to go to your edge. And if you are going to go right to it or a little over it, make sure it feels appropriate in your body. So we go slow. You stay in your body so you can feel and notice, is this appropriate for me or not? Okay, so I think that the down dog plank flow is on the side of being a little more challenging. You're going to take an inhale here, and as you exhale, you're going to push your body weight back, lifting your pelvis up in the air, and then we're going to stretch the calf muscles here by walking the dog. Let your gaze be forward, so look forward. Let one heel at a time touch the floor, and let both heels touch the floor. Coming into a downward facing dog. Feel that stretch the back of the body. And then inhale to come forward. Exhale, push your body up. Inhale forward. Exhale back. One more. Inhale forward. And then you're going to exhale back. Keep your gaze forward because that'll minimize the rounding of the upper spine. And then you're going to walk your hands back until the heels touch the floor. When the heels touch the floor, you're going to take one hand at a time, and you're going to look forward as you slowly, slowly, slowly lift yourself up. So for some of you, you may need to get a chair. For some, you may need to be near the wall. Get your block at first. Well, actually, nope, don't get your block yet. Yeah, get your block. Get your block, and we'll do something to warm up the legs, and we'll do something that is both legs together. So some of the stuff that we do is a single leg or one leg at a time, and then some gives us the opportunity to do both. So here we're going to warm up the lower body. This is going to warm up the quadriceps or work the quadriceps, the glutes. You're coming into hip flexion. So when we do this, you put the block wherever it feels comfortable for your body. When we do this, it's a bending at the hips that we are going to be doing. There's a bend in the knee as well, but make sure that it's not all knee bend. So can you just try to do this where you let your head come forward, you let your upper body come forward. And I find that if you put your hands in the joint there, it's a little easier. It's amazing because if I were with you or on Zoom, I could watch you. And there's probably a couple of you that are having a heck of a time getting this. It's a challenging thing. And for those of you that don't bend at the hips and instead bend in the knees, you're putting so much forward anterior force on those knee joints, causing more wear and tear. And that's the biggest joint in the body and number one weight bearing joint, and not fun to have issues in weight bearing joints. Okay, hands are here at your hips. Your feet are only block distance. So make sure your feet are not like this, right? Because it's important when we do this work that we do it lined up properly, that you're anatomically aligned and your alignment is good, because I don't want to put bad patterns into your body. So I'm trying to get you into a linear, proper alignment pattern, and then we're going to strengthen the muscles and lengthen the muscles in that position. Feet are underneath the hips, tension on the block. You're going to come into this by sitting back, letting the hips bend, and then to protect that lumbar spine, you're going to contract the core, push the belly button up towards the spine so you protect that low back. And then you're going to bring your arms up, look forward, squeezing the block, contracting the core, protecting the belly. So you look forward here, you squeeze the block, and you bend down as deeply as you can, and then you lift the arms away from that. So the arms are reaching up, the tushy and the tailbone are reaching down. If you could take 5 more breaths here, take 5 more breaths. And if that's too much, you can come out of this at any time in between that. Weight is back in the heels. Last breath. And then bring your hands together, bring yourself all the way up. Go ahead and shake the legs, accelerated heart rate, using larger muscles there. So I want to stretch the feet and the calves actually. So for you that didn't do the downward facing dog with me, I want your calves to stretch. If I was in class, I would do it with my egg block. The other thing you could do is we can go to the wall or to a piece of furniture, put the back foot back and make sure it's not angled out. So the back foot is straight and it's not angled out to the side. Back foot is back, the heel is down on the ground, and then step the other foot forward and bend your body, your pelvis moves closer to the wall. Pushing the back heel down, keep your chest up. Press your back heel down, stretching your calf. Hopefully you feel that in the calf. And then push the heel into the floor and especially the pinky toe edge of the heel. Take one more breath. And then we're going to switch. Bring the other foot forward. Take the other foot back. The other foot's not out to the side. Let it be facing forward. Bend that front knee. Push that back heel down. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up. Okay. Take your feet, flip your toes under to stretch the top of the feet so that we don't get any cramps. And so there's a lot of receptivity in the feet. When we do the standing work, the foot is a big part of what we're doing. So you do that on one and then you do the other. So you can hold on to something. You could be near the wall. You could already have a chair out. The toes are touching the floor. You're not on the tippy toes. Your toes are bent. Your toenails are pressing in against the floor. That's part of what helps to create the stretch in the top of the foot. So we're going to visit the warriors today. And there's a warrior 1, warrior 2, and warrior 3. Warrior 2 is in the first series, warrior 1 is in the second series, and warrior 3 is in the third series. So we're going to come into the warrior 2 position first. And I think that this is doable. You could use a chair or be near the wall if balance is a challenge for you. You're going to come into a very wide stance. I want you to be really wide. So if you have balance challenges, go back by the wall. It's much better for you to do that. You're going to take your legs wide. I'm going to assume that for most of you, this is your left side. If you put your hand forward to give me a high five, for most of you, it would be your left side. You're going to pick up your toes, turn your toes to the left. You swivel on your heel, your left leg stays straight. Then you're going to place your left foot into the floor. You're going to put your right toes in the floor and move your right heel away from you. So you have an internal rotation in the right, external in the left. Put a slight bend in that left leg. Lift your chest. Keep your spine nice and long. Take your arms down alongside your body and push them down so there's a lot of strength in the arms. As you inhale to bend the left knee, press the left knee to the left. Let your torso go straight down. Make sure your body didn't go forward when you went to the left. You want your torso on top of your pelvis. If you need to walk that left foot forward, you walk that left foot forward. Press into the outer edge of the right foot. Activate the right foot, lift the right arch off. Look straight over the left middle fingers. Press the arms behind you. Lower the shoulders. Lift the chest. Feel the shoulder blades moving towards each other and then strongly pushing into the chest to lift and press the heart forward. Bending that left knee, push that right foot into the floor, push the left leg to the left, contract the core, lift the pubis bone, lift the belly up, and then active arms reaching out against tension, against pressure. Shoulder blades slide towards each other in to serve the heart. Take one more breath. And then slowly, slowly coming down. So using a lot of strength in your warrior, bringing your legs up, toes point forward. Pick the right toes up, move the right toes to the right. Take the left heel up, left heel moves away. Slight bend in that right leg. Strong action down that left leg, the pinky toe edge, holding onto the floor and lifting that arch up. Take the arms out to the side, reach them down, shoulders are down away from the ears. As you bring your hands up, push the left foot into the floor to let the right knee bend. Lift the arms against gravity. When you get here, look over your right fingers, the right middle finger. Press that left foot into the floor. Activate the belly, lift that pubis bone up. Push that right knee to the right. Slide the shoulder blades towards each other. Lower the shoulders. Press the shoulder blades into the chest to lift the heart up. Be as low as you can. Push your feet into the floor. Draw that energy to the pelvis. Contracting the core, lifting the spine. Press the shoulder blades to press the chest forward. Reach out your fingers. Lower your shoulders from your ears. Press the feet into the floor. Active feet arches are lifting away from the floor. Take one more breath. And then slowly, slowly with strength, you're going to come out of that. So feel all the power coming in and coming out of that. Okay, we're going to need a chair. So go ahead and grab a chair. So grab a chair. We're going to use the back of the chair. It doesn't matter if it's one with arms or anything like that. So we're going to take the chair onto half of the mat. And it's important when you work with a chair that you have it on half of the mats, or sometimes you need all four legs of the chair on the mat. And it's important, especially because you're at home and I can't see you, I'm not with you in person, to make sure that you're safe, that you follow these safety aspects, because we don't want to injure ourselves when we're practicing this healing practice of yoga. So I have the two legs on the chair, and this is to the left. So you guys are going to bring your left leg forward, and you're going to take your right leg back. The right foot is actually not going to be pointing forward. It's angling out a little. And so you have the external rotation in that front leg and the internal in the back leg. And then you take your hand down alongside your body. So the leg that's at the back, the hand is down alongside the body. Walk your front foot forward because you're going to bend into this. So you need a pretty wide stride, which is why we have the chair here. You're going to slowly bend that front knee, push that front knee towards the chair. You may start to feel stuff in the external in the flexors, the hip flexors. You're going to come forward, take your arm, bring your arm up towards the sky. The back leg is straight. And then you're going to bring the other hand off the chair if you can. The front foot presses into the floor, the knee is bent. Draw that front hip, that front leg bone. So if you're following me, it's the left for you guys. The left leg bone into the socket to bring the pelvis towards facing forward. If the low back doesn't like this, you could bring your torso forward in this. And if the low back is okay, lengthen out your fingers, lengthen out your spine, add a back bend into the back of the body, only if it feels appropriate for you. Press the back foot into the floor. If it's too much tension on the back leg, you could bring the back heel off and come into, it's a crescent really, but kind of a variation of warrior. Stretching that major hip flexor muscle, the psoas. Take one more breath. Bring your hands together and then bring yourself out. Come all the way up. Let me see what's happening here. Okay. Something was popping up, probably one of my family members using my something. Okay, let's come to the other side and then notice what you notice. That's a lot of deep hip flexor stretch. I'm going to say that for those of you with hip issues, be careful with this, or notice how it feels, because you're stretching the front of your hip socket. And for some, especially if you're in a place of a lot of protection, there might be a lot of tightness there. So you want to go really slow when you're stretching. You want to feel what feels appropriate for you. So as always, I want you to be in your own body. Those are just the little things. Okay, the back leg goes back, the toes are pointing forward and then out actually. So they're angled out a little. And then you activate that back foot. Bring the front foot forward. And then you take the hand down along your body. So you needed to change your sides or the chair. So if you were following me before, your left leg was forward and now your right leg is forward, you're going to take your left hand down alongside your body. You're going to bend the front knee and then inhale to come into the pose. Now the back leg is straight. For me, I need to be careful. This is my hip that I need to be careful with. So I'm going to put a slight bend in my knee to minimize that front deep stretch on the hip. If you have no issues and you can get a lot of hip stretch and stimulation safely, straighten that leg, push that heel into the floor. And then if you can, everyone bring the other hand off if you can. The front leg for you guys, it's the right. Draw that leg bone into the socket so that your hips face forward. Hands are up. Feel that pressure of both feet making strong contact with the floor. This is warrior one. Gaze is forward. If the back doesn't like this, you bring your torso forward or you bring yourself into a back bend. Find what is the sweet spot, what is the okay spot and the perfect place for you and your body with your issues and your tissues. Take one more breath. And then you're going to slow yourself up and out of that. So with these standing poses, there's a lot of weight bearing aspects to them. And weight bearing meaning deeper stretches in those muscles because your body weight is stretching them. So you need to feel your way into these and feel what's appropriate. And then notice after you do them how you're feeling. So that's also going to be something that's important. That's why I like a chair, because even if you think you have a really strong practice, it's always nice to have something there to help if that's too much. Okay, so we did warrior two, then we did warrior one. Now we're going to come into warrior three, and I'd like to show you different things about warrior three. So I'd like you to have a chair for warrior three, and I'm going to show you different places to be in this warrior. We're going to put both feet directly underneath the pelvis, facing forward. And then we're going to do our left leg first. So you're going to push yourself onto your left leg. And then your chair is here, or you could be at the wall with your hands on the wall. You're going to take your right foot back, and you're going to bring your right foot behind you. So this, I would say, is step one. Now contract your core, lift your belly up, push your belly button to your spine to help protect that lumbar spine. You're going to start to flex your torso forward, keeping your legs straight. This is stage one. If you'd like to bring the leg a little higher, you can bring it halfway from the floor to all the way behind you. And then if you'd like to come into the full expression, the standing leg is straight. You're going to bend forward. Throat is open, so don't look down and round your spine. That's why the hand on the chair can help with all of this. If you want to come into full expression, you could take your hands, you could take your hands off the chair and come into the full expression of warrior three. Or stay in some kind of variation. I think hands, and if the hands are on the chair, make it be more that the hands are just correcting the postural aspect as opposed to waiting on them. Let all the weight be on that standing leg in this flexed position. A lot of glute work here. Take one more breath. And then you're going to slowly, slowly, slowly come up. So hopefully you feel there's a lot of glute work there on that glute. We're going to do the right side now. So you take the foot, make sure your foot is facing forward. So your foot is facing forward and not out to the side. We want to be in this nice linear, perfect alignment with our body here. So you come onto that standing, onto both feet. You push your body weight on now to your right leg. And then you slowly start to bring the left leg back, tippy toes touching the floor. contract the core, press the belly button of the spine to help protect that lumbar spine as you start to flex that hip joint. Glute muscle active here. Feel it in those glutes. Put your hand in the chair and maybe you stop halfway. For those of you that are going to come all the way up into full expression, taking the hands off, either one or both, do that. For those of you that are going to stay here, make sure your throat is open. You're looking forward. It's a flexion at the hip joint. Protect that belly. Protect that low back by contracting that core, loading up that hip, flexing in that hip joint. Just feel that work in that glute. Come down if you need to. Take one more breath. And then when you come out, slow, slow, slow. And then just take your body, move your body back and forth, side to side. Moving your body, sway. Just do a little sway back and forth. And I like to go like this, where my hip goes back, my hip goes back. So as someone with hip asymmetry and issues, total hip replacement on my left, natural hip on my right, and I feel all this asymmetry from that muscularly, whether that was the process of what it took before I had that hip replacement and the surgery before that. So it's really important that you're thoughtful when you do these deeper poses. And that's why having props can be very supportive, whether it's the wall or the chair. Okay, let's take the chair. I'd like us to do, I hope you all have a chair. I'd like to do a standing twist. That's a single leg stand. Now I'm going to say that in class, I walk around because I want to make sure you're pretty safe here. Can I show it to you first, please? So I just want to show you this before you come into it, because I'm going to talk you through it. You're not just going to come into it yourself. Okay. So this pose here is a twisting pose, a standing twisting pose. And it can be a little wobbly. It may not look like I'm making it look wobbly, but I'm going to tell you this can be wobbly. So I want your chair to be up against a wall, where the back legs are up against the wall. Put your back legs up against the wall. I guess I'll do mine here. The back legs go up against the wall. Then you're going to face the chair. So this is a version of the seated twist. So you're getting all the benefits of the twist, which is great for spinal stimulation for the bones. And then you're going to do single leg standing, which we just did with our Warrior 2, which is good. Okay, so I'd like us to go on to our left leg first. So you're going to push the body weight onto the left leg, look straight ahead at your wall, make sure you have a wall there if you need. And then you're going to come onto your right tippy toes, and then slowly lifting the right foot up. Feel the right foot along the front of the chair. Lift as high as you can. See if you can get all the way to be flexed in your hip and your knee to bring the leg up. So what I'm trying to avoid is this. Out to the side and slumping it down. I want you to go through the flexion of the knee, flexion of the hip, using all those muscles to come into flexion. And then when you have your foot on the chair, walk your foot forward so that you're standing on the standing leg. Make sure your weight is not forward. Just come up for a second onto the toes of the foot on the chair, so you know that it's not that you're not totally fully forward weighting on that front leg. I want you standing on that standing leg. Then you're going to, so you have your right leg up and you're standing on your left leg. Take your left hand up in the air and then rotate, rotate, rotate over to the right. Take the left hand on the outside of the right knee. When you take the hand on the outside, this allows you to rotate that trunk. Put your body weight on your standing leg. You could keep your hand on your waist, or you can bring your arm out to the side. Push your foot into the floor, get nice and tall. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Breathe down to your belly. Take one more breath. Now don't just come down. Slowly come back to center. Bring your foot to the front edge of the chair. Let your toenails go under. Let the chair graze the front of your shin and bring yourself down. Go ahead and take that left leg and shake it. So all that slow movement that I'm asking you to do when you bring yourself up is really good for joint strength and for range of motion in the joints. So hopefully you feel some stuff, good stuff. Let me move this to here a little bit. So I'm going to do this. Okay. So we're going to come to the other side. You don't need to move the chair. I'm doing it for the purposes of being able to face you. So we're going to take the other, we're going to come on the other side now. So we're going to move on to our right leg. You're going to push your body weight over to your right leg. You're going to take your hands on your waist. Let me move this. Put your hands on your waist. Then you're going to bend your left leg so that your left shin comes up towards the chair. And you're going to go all the way up, all the way up, all the way up, and see if you can eventually bring your left foot onto the chair. Bring it to the front edge of the chair. Come onto the tippy toes so we know that you're waiting on your back leg. And you're going to take your right arm up in the air, rotate, rotate, rotate to the right, and place the right arm on the back of the left leg. Body weight is back, so you're on top of that right leg. Then you're going to open up your arm. Maybe, not all of you will open your arm. This may not have enough rotation. You want to make sure you're not rounding the upper body. So you use that right arm to help you open up. Take your arm to the side. Find your shoulder blades. Slide your shoulder blades towards the chest, pressing the shoulder blades into the chest. Opening, opening, and rotate. Feel that rotation in your body. Contract your core. Push your belly button to your spine. Feel that nice support of the core for the back. Breathe down to your belly. Take one more breath. Remember, we're going slow, so don't just come down. Come back to center. Hands are on the waist. Contract your core. Bring your foot to the edge. Slowly, slowly graze the edge of the chair and come all the way down. Woohoo! And then go ahead and shake, shake, shake. Shake your legs. Roll your legs around. Move them side to side. Do whatever you need to do to feel the legs. Okay. We're going to come down onto the floor. So bring yourself over. So when you come down on the floor with osteoporosis, making sure that you move nice and smooth, that you have your blanket handy, because we're going to use that, not right away, but we are going to use that. So have your blanket handy, and then your block, wherever your block is. Take your block, have your block handy, blankets to the side. Let's go down and do bridge pose, help align everything, get all the spine nice in alignment. Coming down, you're going to reach the hand away to come all the way to the floor. No blanket here behind the head when we come into our bridge pose. Take the hair, if you have long hair, lengthen the back of the neck. Take the block between the legs. Walking the hands alongside the body, slide the shoulder blades towards the spine. The block is between the legs. Squeeze the block, squeeze the tushy, let the low back fall to the floor. Lengthen the back neck, push your feet into the floor, and start to peel your spine off the floor, one vertebra at a time, lifting, lifting, lifting. Feel the lengthening of the back of the neck, squeeze the block. Knees are moving away from you. Don't look side to side here.
You can move the shoulder blades closer to each other. Clasp if you are a clasper. Press the hands straight into the floor if that's what you do, or bend the elbows so that you can lift that rib cage farther away from the floor. Lift the rib cage away from the floor. Squeeze the block. 3 more breaths. Stay with your breaths. And when you're ready, when you come down, you release that tension in the body, letting one spine bone at a time come all the way down. Take the block out to the side, bring the knees into the chest, and bring the blanket behind your head, rocking side to side. We're going to go straight into our Shavasana. So if you need to get a bolster or put your legs in a chair, whatever you need, or you can let your legs reach straight out in a spread position. Staying with the breath, stay here, keep your mind here. Practice is not over. So still stay here, connected to your breath, connected to yourself. Relax, let go, breathe deeply. Govinde mukande, udare apare, hariyam kariyam govinde mukande, udare apare, hariyam kariyam yiname akame. Govinde, Mukande, Mudare, Apare, Hariyam, Kariyam, Yaname, Akame. Govinde, Mukande, Udare, Apare, Hariyam, Kariyam, Yaname, Akame. Govinde mukande, udare apare, hariyam kariyam, yaname akame. Govinde mukande, udare apare, hariyam kariyam, yaname akame. Govinde mukande, udare apare,
Bringing the awareness to the breath. Begin to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, rolling your ankles and your wrists. And then gently bring the knees into the chest. Feel the low back press towards the floor. And then rock onto your right side, bringing yourself up to a seated position where we will close the practice with sound, blending the ah, the o, and the sound, bringing that sound from the bottom to the middle to the upper lungs, as well as the back of the throat, mouth, and middle of mouth and front of mouth. Take your hands together. The thumbs touch the sternum bone. Sit nice and tall. Take a deep breath down to the belly. We bow to each other. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. A lot of new poses or poses I haven't taught in a while today. So notice how you feel after today. If there are any issues that you experience, I'd love for you to email me so we can discuss maybe proper techniques for you when you're doing certain poses or poses that you need to do different variations. Thank you. Let me see. Thank you, Donna. Really nice to have you all here. And yep, that's today. And then I will be back on Saturday. Thanks, Sharon. I'm not leaving for Colorado until next week. I leave Friday. I'm going to go to Zion. I've never been to Zion. It's a 16-hour drive, but I feel like that's the safest way to get her there. And I think most of her classes are going to be online. She may have a lab or two. She holds a position in her sorority. She's like the second, like vice president. So it's going to be good for her to be there. So anyway, I'm driving her next Friday. So I'll be here all next week too. Yeah, stronger poses, right? Hope you feel good. Shannon, you're welcome. Yeah, it's nice and strong for you, She's way. Jeannie, you're welcome. Joyce, you're welcome. And Sharon, Zion, yeah, I've not been there. I hear Zion is beautiful. All right, thumbs up if you like this. And send me any, you're welcome, Carol, any questions or anything you want to say. All right, so great to be here with you all. You're welcome, Lynn. I will see you soon. Bye.